Hey everybody, Carl here, and welcome to the ToyWiz Twitch channel for our special bonus Thanksgiving stream. So first off, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Today, instead of doing some Warhammer miniatures like I've done in the past, I'm going to be painting a Sabine Wren, or Sabine Wren, I'm not quite sure how you pronounce her name. I admit it, I've never watched Clone Wars. I'm sorry. Anyway, I'm going to be painting her from Star Wars Legion, the Star Wars miniatures game, which has been seeing some renewed popularity over at the store. In fact, we are currently running a painting contest with Star Wars Legion. So today you're going to see me paint my entry for it, and hopefully it'll go pretty well. If you'd like to join in yourself, and you are in the area, I know we're reaching a lot more people by streaming than just by, people just wandering on into the store. So if you happen to be in the New York, New Jersey area, we're located at 347 West Route 59 in Nanuet, New York. And we're open, well, closed today, but in general we're open every day. Noon till 6 most days. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And then Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays we're open from noon until 8. For the holidays, we are extending our hours on Tuesdays and Thursdays until 8 o'clock as well. Now then, back to the contest. So, the way it works is pretty easy. First, you purchase a figure from Star Wars Legion, such as Sabine Wren, who I'm doing today. Secondly, you pay $15 to enter the contest. The contest started last Saturday as far as picking up the materials to work with, and the deadline for submitting your fully painted model is going to be 1 week from this upcoming Saturday, so on December 5th. When we get all the pieces in, we're going to put them on display, or if we don't have them all in, whatever we have by that point is going to be put on display in the store from Sunday, December 6th through Saturday, December 12th. On the 12th, we will be tallying up all the votes and choosing a winner, and the first place contestant ends up winning the limited edition Luke Skywalker miniature that they put out. So really cool, really nice prize available if you're skilled enough and if the general public likes the way that you painted your miniature. So that having been said, that's part of the reason why I chose Sabine Wren, aside from the fact that she's just pretty cool looking. The Mandalorians are very hot right now, and Sabine Wren herself is fairly popular, so that's who I decided to go with. I'm going to be using, for the most part, the Citadel contrast paints that Games Workshop puts out. You can see a list of what I'm going to be using right here at the bottom of the screen. For those of you who are unfamiliar with contrast paints, not speaking very well today. Well, it's a holiday. So, yeah, the contrast paints it's kind of like painting with watercolors, in which they're pretty thin, and they're designed in such a way that wherever they pool, they dry darker. So you don't need to worry about doing like all these shades, all these dry brush techniques with layers. It kind of does a lot of the multi-layering just by itself, which is really cool. Since I am just got back into the hobby this year after having not painted since I was like maybe 18 or so. Definitely a little bit easier way for me to kind of ease back into it, and I've been enjoying them quite a bit. If you see our other videos, you'll see me using them too. So I think I've babbled on for a little bit enough now. I'm going to get started here. I'll comment periodically, but enjoy the little ambient music in the background. If you have any questions or if you want to just make any comments, feel free to say something in the chat and I will do my best to address you. So I'm going to begin. I think for the most part, I'm going to try to do one color at a time, but I'm going to kind of go from the bottom and work my way up. So I'm going to begin with using the Black Templar paint for her boots. Now the treads in the bottom, I believe, are a little more gray, so we're going to go a little bit lighter on the color there and a little bit heavier for the rest of the main part of the boot. I'm going to begin using a base coat brush, because I want to save the really detailed stuff for when I have to really go crazy with it. Okay, so we shook up the Black Templar nice. I'm going to just grab some of the paint right out of the lid where it pooled there and begin there. Okay. Now, the thing to remember when you're painting with the contrast paints is that they're always going to dry darker than they apply. So if you're concerned with how it's going to look in the long run, just put a little bit of paint on to start off, because you can always add more later if it doesn't come out quite as dark as you'd like. On the other hand, if it comes out darker than you'd like, there really isn't a way to undo that. Unless you want to go get some paint thinner, just drench the entire darn thing and start over from scratch. And that isn't very fun. So I'm going to put a little bit less on the treads on the bottom of her boots, and go a little heavier on the upper parts to make that darker. At least that's the hope. She's got like a little plate on the front of it, so I'm going to make sure that's a different color. I'll come back to that again later. And just kind of work my way around that right now. You know, she also tends to have like specks of color all over the place, so I might come back a little bit later and try to do that with some of the more colorful bits and just kind of like flex some paint on there. Just gonna like flip the brush so little specks go down there. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. We'll find out. Depends on depends on my mood. We'll see how it's looking and how crazy I want to get. Because at the same time, as much as I want this to look nice for me, and I do want to get a little creative with it, I don't want to go too crazy because it is something that's going to be voted on by people coming into the store. So definitely got to make sure it's got some broad base appeal if I want to get the votes and win that Luke Skywalker. Just put a little more on to darken the top of the boot. Okay. And then there's a little bit, because she's got this almost like a row of bullets there, so I'm going to go above that and make sure I get the rest of... Actually, it looks more like that's kind of at the top, and it's where it kind of meets up with her pants, so don't think there's any more boot I have to worry about on that end. Kind of hard to tell. These aren't quite as detailed as the GW models, so a little tougher. So I'm going to move on to her other boot now. Again, I want to make sure I don't go over the little plate that she's got there. If you make a little mistake with a lighter paint, you can always go over it later on with a darker one. It'll cover it up. But much like with if you make something a little too dark and you can't really lighten it, same goes for if you make a mistake with a darker paint. So, gotta be a little more careful when you're doing those. Another reason I chose Sabine Wren, aside from Mandalorians being cool and her character in general being really cool, is because she's got the Darksaber, which, again, I'm not too familiar with too much of the Star Wars lore, aside from the films and the Mandalorian TV series, or Disney Plus series, or stream series, or however we're referring to these things these days. But the Darksaber is pretty badass. And I remember it made a huge splash when it showed up at the end of Mandalorian Season 1. Definitely assisted by the fact that it was wielded by Giancarlo Esposito, who is just plain awesome. Okay. So I think we're good with the boots. Oh, maybe make it a little darker here on the end there. You know, like I said before, you can always come back and touch things up a little bit more later on if it doesn't quite have the effect you were aiming for. So what else do I need to do with the black? Well, obviously the Darksaber, so I'm going to go and touch that up there. And I'm going to leave the corners unpainted, because the or attempt to at least, because the Darksaber has kind of an outlined glow whenever it shows up. And normally it's just kind of white there on the edges, but I think we can go with maybe a purple just to give it a little extra kick. So I'm just going to go through with a little bit of the black, not too crazy, so this way when I get the colors on there for the glow, it'll stand out a little bit. So that's a start. Okay, I think I also am going to want to go and get the interior crease of the helmet there. But because that's so tiny, I think I'm going to switch over to another brush. So I'm just going to quickly go and wash this one off. Just, rub it up against the inside of my little water glass here, or water mug. And give it a little bit of a twirl, both to maintain the point on it, and to, by rubbing it up against the edge, work out some of that extra paint that's there. And we'll dry this off. Get some of the excess paint off there as well. And let's see, I think I'm going to go with the 00 size for this, because it's really tiny in there. So get a little of the Black Templar and go right on in the eye slits. Put a little more in there. There we go. Now, what else do I need to do in black? I know that on her one shoulder piece, in most of the pictures I've seen at least, she's got kind of a blue and I don't know if it's black or a steel looking checkerboard pattern, so I'm going to go and make some dots on here, and I'll come back a little bit later with the blue. Even if it's not blue in the actual thing, I'm going to do blue here just to make it pop a little more. So I'm just going to go in here and just do little indentations, or little, not indentations, not cutting into it, but little dots, little specks, little hints of black in the best I can do to approximate a checkerboard pattern. And later when I do the blue, I can even just go directly over it. And the black will still pop out a lot more underneath. Let's get a little more paint in there, just a tiny bit. There we go. Not 100% clean, but it'll get the job done. Okay, and I think that might be it for the black for now. Again, I can, you know what? Nope, let's do her gloves too. Well, since I have the smaller brush out, I'm going to use this one. So, let's see. She's got like a little bit of a plate on the back of one of the gloves, so I'm going to do that in the Rune Fang steel later. But for the fingers, anyway, for those of you watching this live, I hope you're having a happy Thanksgiving. Hope you're staying safe. And I'm hearing my kitten in the background. Something tells me he's going to want to jump up here and assist with what Daddy's doing. I don't know if you can hear him meowing if my microphone's picking that up, but he's definitely being pretty insistent. And now he's running into my closet. Alrighty, that's one glove down. Let's do another one. Oh, no, he's lying down on my bed. Comfy little kitty. And now the puppy stirs. My goodness, it's so tiny. I probably should get my, or I should say the store's magnifiers out, so I don't completely ruin my eyes. My goodness, these are tiny. Alrighty. There we go. Next step is going to be, let's see, I think next we'll do the pants. So we clean off this brush. And it looks like we have a spammer in the chat. And how do I clear that out? I have no idea. So I guess I'm just going to sit there for now. Oh, here we are. And okay, so let me quickly grab my, here we are, my magnifiers. And hopefully this will help out. Whoa, goodness. Trippy. Okay. And let us continue. Ooh, light. Okay then, so for the pants, I think we're going to go with 2 shades of brown. And then we're going to save darker brown for the pouches and the belt and everything. So I think we're going to start off with, let's go with, first let's, close off the Black Templar so it doesn't get, doesn't dry out. I think we're going to go with the snakebite leather for the darker parts, and then she's got some lighter panels in the middle, which I'm going to do in the skeleton horde. So I'm going to shake that up nicely, and we'll begin with the snakebite leather. My goodness, it is trippy wearing this thing. Okay, get a little bit on the edge of the brush there. And I guess we'll start with the rear end. I'm just going to work around and make sure I leave the panel clear. There, we're going to make that a little darker. And I just realized something else I wanted to do in the black, so I'm going to be coming back to that a little bit later. Oops. And she has come off of the base. It's funny, because I was having a little trouble attaching her to the base in the first place when I was assembling the figure. Looks like the glue didn't quite take, so I'm going to have to come back to that a little bit later as well. On the positive side, I guess it gives me a little more room to maneuver around and make sure I've got everything quite right without the base in the way. On this other leg, at least the panel is a little more pronounced, so it's easier to paint around it. And get a little in there, in between the little band she's got on her leg and the row of bullets. Get back in there with a little more of the snakebite leather. There we go. Let's get back in there a little bit, darken that a little bit more. I always get so nervous whenever I'm painting these because I don't want to mess them up, because I'm very precise with things. At least I try to be. And I will notice every little mistake I make. Okay, I think it's decent. It doesn't look too right up close just yet, but we'll wait till we get the other colors in there. It should fix it up nicely. Alrighty then. So let's close up the snakebite leather and wash off that brush. And next I'm going to move into the skeleton horde. I'll just dry that off. And the skeleton horde is going to be much smaller. It's just going to be a little panel right in between her thighs. And the kitten is back. Okay. Now, skeleton horde gets kind of a nice, like, yellow bone look to it, which is appropriate since it's called skeleton horde. So that should give a nice contrast to the darker snakebite leather. Oh, it's a little too light. I don't know if it's because of the water I just used or if because of just the general thinness, but it will dry a bit darker and more yellowed, so I'm not overly concerned. I've used this before in my GW models, so I know how it's going to end up looking. Oh goodness, I bent the thing on top of her helmet. I am not going to be doing well with this contest. I'll come back to this again a little bit later and just kind of touch up a bit more with the snakebite leather. But for now, let's get a little more of the skeleton horde in there, particularly down here. Another thing to be careful of with the contrast paints is that your brush strokes will show, so try to smooth stuff out a little bit if you don't want that showing up in your final product. I don't know if you can see it from there, but it's definitely darkening from when I originally was applying it, so I'll give you an idea of how the contrasts work. And again, this is stuff that I'm going to come back to later on a lot of these colors and just kind of redo things to fill little gaps here and there. So let's rest her down there, and we'll move on to the next color. I think next we're going to go with the Wildwood, which is as the name implies, a more wood-looking brown. But I think that darker brown will look nice for the belt and some of the pouches and everything. And then once I'm done with that, I think I'm going to move into the Grey Knight Steel, the base coat one, which is the more metallic paint, before I start moving into the upper parts of her body. Okay then, so the question now is, do I want to keep using this, or do I want to switch over to and my laundry's done, or do I want to switch over to a smaller brush? I think this one should be fine. Yeah, definitely have to go back on the snakebite leather there. Okay, so let's go with the Wildwood. Shake it up nice. Darn it. Cap falls down. Yeah, I always pull the paint out of the cap. Helps to minimize the chances of me accidentally grabbing too much. Okay then, so I guess we'll start with the pouches on her belt. And then I'll work down to the stuff that's on her, oops. Scoot up the antenna again. Then move to the stuff that's on her boots. Okay. As you can see, it also has the Wildwood has a different tint to it than the snakebite leather brown. So whereas the snakebite leather's got kind of a yellowish look to it, the Wildwood's a little, I guess, grayer would probably be a decent enough term for it than the snakebite. But it's definitely something where you can notice the difference between it and the snakebite. So having the two next to each other, even the parts where I've got the snakebite a little bit darker, it's still very much, you can definitely see the difference between the two of them. Whew. Some tiny bits in here. And I'll probably go with the was it Runefang steel? No, sorry, Grey Knight steel later, and kind of touch up the not just the belt buckle, but the little latches on her pouches too. Okay, let's get that little loop down there for the holster. Alrighty then. So next we're going to do a couple of the straps that she has on her boots. Like this one on the side that's holding her little plate that she's got in the front on. And we're also going to go around with a little ring of bullets. Which again, I'll do the tops and bottoms in the Runefang steel, or I keep saying Runefang, the Grey Knight steel, to just kind of emphasize the fact that there are bullets in the leather wrapping. And we'll come back over here and get that strap. And now the bullets. And I'm finding myself holding my breath while I'm doing this. Definitely got to remember to breathe. Don't want to be passing out because I'm a little concerned about the way I'm painting. Okay, I think... Okay, now let's move on to some of the stuff she's got up on her arms. Where they do appear to be metal, but they've got little leather straps holding them in place. So I'm going to just go in, do a little bit of brown right over there. Come on, Coral, stop holding your breath. And a little strap over here too. Okay. Alrighty, let's now... Oh, you know what? Let me fix one of those pouches that's a little too light. Same thing with the holster down here. Like I said, you can definitely see all of the brush strokes. So I'm just going to go try to cover them up a little bit more and make it a little smoother. Some of the parts where I went a little lighter on the paint are showing up a little bit more empty now that it's drying. Okay. I think what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go back to the snakebite leather for a little bit and just try to fix some of the gaps I've got on the pants. And then I'm going to move back on to the Grey Knight steel. I actually called it by the right name this time. Nice. Bring that over here so I don't forget. And here's the leather. And dry that off. Okay. Let's get back here again for a little bit. Didn't quite get enough of the paint on there. Let's try that again. Oh, okay, that got a lot of paint that time. Just gotta be careful as I apply it. Just very lightly get on in there. Just kind of ease it in. I'm going to try to match the other leg so it has about the same level of darkness as the first leg. Okay, I think that fixed it a little bit better. Just add a little bit in there where it meets the pouch. Okay. So let's move on to the Grey Knight steel. And we'll dry that on off. Okay, I think there's going to be a few places I'm going to be using this, so let's... Actually, no, I'm going to stick with the base brush. And I'll switch over to the detail one in a little bit. There we go. Oh, wow, that is pretty. Now, this is the regular GW paint, so I gotta be a bit more careful with this. Let's see. I guess we'll begin with these little bits on her boots. And because this is not a contrast paint, it is just completely going over the spots where I accidentally got some of the brown on the parts that I wanted to make metallic. It's got a nice, almost kind of a blue tint to it, which is really nice. Yeah, this one, definitely don't want to put too much paint on there, because it is a bit thicker and we don't want it to get all globby. And I already messed up and got a little bit on the boot, but I should be able to cover it a little bit up if I go back with the black, or when I go back with the Black Templar a little bit later. Okay, not bad. And I'm just going to go in and just kind of dance a little over the edges of the bullets on that little bandolier around her ankle as well. Bandolier, that's the word I was looking for. And I don't want to go too crazy. I'm just going to kind of let it pick up a little bit here and there to show on the tips that they are the metal of bullets. And I'll go around on the top and do the same thing. Oh boy. Might help if I had a little more paint on the brush at this point. Let's move over to the other one just to get some of it off before I go in here, because I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to put too much, just a little bit for highlight's sakes. Right on in there. Okay. Well, that's stressful. It's one panel down on one of the boots. Let me quickly go see what happened to the music I had going. There we go. Yeah, I got some nice ambient copyright-free music going. Thanks to, I should probably give a shout out to the channel I'm using. Thanks to Here We Go on YouTube for sharing some of their chill. Okay, and I guess I'll grab by the helmet to reach down here. Well, now that I have the magnifier on, I can see that I really missed a significant portion of the boot here when I was painting it with the black earlier. I think that's going to be the next step before I move on to the upper portion of her her body. I'm going to go back with the black and try kind of fix a few of my little whoopsies. and also kind of darken the boots a little bit more. There we go, that's the right angle. Okay. Let's finish up the top part of this little metal plate. And then, just like with the other side, do a little bit on the tops of the bandolier to make the bullets look like they're bullets, not just a solid bunch of brown leather there. And we'll come back around and do the bottom too. Touch up on the side there on the boots. Oh boy. Let's try to get some of the excess paint off there so I don't put too much on. Okay. Next, I think next we're going to do the gun and the hilt of the Darksaber. And again, this will also help me find out places I need to reapply some of the Black Templar where I missed it on the gloves the first time around. Speaking of the gloves, got to make sure I'm very careful and get around the fingers instead of painting over them with the Grey Knight steel. Okay. And then we got the little panel on the back of her glove. And we got the bottom of the pistol coming out of her hand there. Can't forget that. And next we've got the bunch of metal pieces on her torso. Whew. Stressful. It's funny, you try to paint to relax, but then you get all these tiny little pieces in there and you just start worrying about, oh no, what if I don't quite get the color right, or what if I accidentally get a small piece that was supposed to be a different color and paint it over with something dark so it didn't quite come out right. Little piece down here that's held on by another strap that I painted earlier with the wildwood. Okay, that's good for that arm. Do something a little bit different with the pauldron up there. So now we've got the hilt of the Darksaber. And then the top of that glove. And then the other metal piece that's on her arm here. Oh, plus the bottom of the hilt. I guess that's the pommel. I don't know, my stored knowledge isn't quite what it used to be. Okay. Well, once I'm done with this other arm piece here, I think I'm going to take a moment to find out what happened to the music again, and then we'll continue. Hey, there it is. Guess we were just in between tracks and it was a little quiet at the end of the first one, or the end of the previous one. Oh, got a bit of a glob on that one. Okay. Oh, you know what? Let me quickly do the belt buckle over here. Some other little flourishes on her belt. Oh, shoot, I got some on one of the pouches. The part where I'm getting sloppy when I need to be even more precise. Not so good, Carl. You're not going to win this contest painting like that. Okay. And let's get this little thing around top of her head. And that side as well. Okay. So let's take a break from the Grey Knight steel to go back to the Black Templar for a bit. Make sure this is nice and... Well, let's wash off the brush first and make sure that's nice and sealed because we don't want my paints to dry out. Actually, I'm not quite done with the steel yet. I'm going to come back to that in a moment. But first, let's fix up the Black Templar. We've got this big section on her boot here that really needs to be filled in. And let's see if we can cover up a little where I put a little too much of the steel in there. Did I even get any paint on there that time? Whoa, okay, that worked. That's a lot of paint. Okay. Okay, it looks like actually it does cover it up pretty nicely. So it wasn't a complete screw up on my part. And we'll just get, oh wow, I missed some of the gun there. Make sure we get the rest of the glove properly completed here. And relax and breathe. Definitely missed a little bit on that gun that I gotta come back for. And the strap going around the helmet I'm going to do in black. I think also just for to give the illusion of some shadow, I'm going to do the underside of the helm in black. Let's get a little more in there. Hope you're digging this music, because I am. I am loving it quite a bit. Again, this is Here We Go, H-E-A-R, We Go, on YouTube. They've got these playlists of a bunch of copyright-free music. And this is their chill playlist, because painting should be relaxing. It's already stressful enough the way I do it and going crazy about trying to make sure that I don't make any mistakes. Okay. So we're going to go back to the Runefang steel now and fix some of the things I missed just a few moments ago. As well as going to do a little bit of a flourish around the edges of the helm. Now, I believe she does have a bit more color in her helmet, at least from the pictures I've seen. So we're going to go with kind of a multi-purple look for it, but I want to try to get some steel on the sides. So let's see how this works. Shake the steel back up again. Okay, we're going to go in with the much tinier detail brush this time around. And I'm going to start with the massive amounts of the gun that I completely screwed up on a few moments ago. But that's why I go back, so I can go and fix those mistakes and catch the pieces that I missed. And let's see, let's get a little more over here on, oops, the side of her arm there. And just chill. Okay then, so the under part of the helm we want to keep. We're going to do with the silver here, the steel rather, the gray knight steel. And I think I'm going to come back with the black and just kind of darken the little bit on top. So I'm going to begin with just down here. Okay. Whew. Finding myself holding my breath again. I need to stop doing that. Okay. So let's wipe that off. I'm going to go back in there with the medium detail one here. I'm going to go back to the Black Templar. I'm going to put a little bit over the little flourishes on the helmet that I did earlier, just to darken them a little bit. Because this is thinner, it should show through. Okay, this brush is garbage. Let's put that one back. Okay, you know what? Let's use the base one. I think that should be all right. We have enough surface area that I shouldn't have to worry about it. We're just going to put this over the steel a little bit. Kitty is back and Kitty is angry. Just to give a little more, texture to it. I think I'll go back and I'll put some more of the Grey Knight steel back over it later to bring back a bit more of the metallic. So multiple layers should make for a nice effect, I hope. Okay, I think next what I'm going to do is do the gray of her shirt underneath that little chest piece she's got there. Vivi is not happy with me. Again, don't know if you can hear him meowing, but he is certainly being very insistent. Today marks 2 weeks that I've had him now, and in that time he has gone from being extremely shy to extremely forthright and loud. He is so adorable. Now next I'm using some Basilicanum Gray, which I forgot to add to my list of paints there. And this is what I'm going to do the shirt and all that with. So I guess we'll start back here. Working my way around, making my way downtown, walking fast, faces past, and I'm homebound. Okay. Yeah, I'm setting myself up for failure twofold with this, both in that I'm streaming it so you guys can see every mistake I make, and the fact that this is going to be a contest entry, so everybody who comes in the store to vote will be able to see every mistake I make. got that arm mostly taken care of. Some extra plates up a bit more there. Also, I think, see what happens if I put some silicone gray over the little thing up top here. You know, might as well experiment, have some fun with this. And then come back here to the other arm. And take care of the shirt in there. I want to make sure I don't get up onto the pauldron, because that is going to be a different color. Alrighty. Okay, making progress. Should hope so, since it's been about an hour and 20 minutes since I started this. And might as well take this moment to thank everybody that's watching, either live or when I post this later on Facebook. Hope you're enjoying what you're seeing. Hope I can help bring a little chill to your day as I'm doing this. Okay, I think I'm going to give it about 10 more minutes, and I'm going to take a little bit of a break just to let my eyes fix and find out what my kitty needs. But then I'll be back. I'm definitely going to be finishing this piece today, so it's all going to be one continuous stream until I'm done. That includes however many times I go back and make little adjustments. So I'm in for the long haul. You're welcome to join me for as long or as short as you'd like. I do appreciate everyone who does take the time to check out what I do here. Just a little something extra we like to kind of try to bring to the community. Especially now when there's so little to be able to do. It's really hard to kind of get together and get any gaming in. And one thing that's nice is we do actually have our miniatures tables open. So if you come into the store, you can get your games in still. Because it's a lot easier to keep a safe social distance when you've got a 4x6 table between you and your opponent. Yeah, I am failing miserably on this one. Actually, that's probably a better bet. If I just paint the blue all over it, then the black spots should take care of themselves because they're a darker paint underneath it. Now, granted, the Ultramarines blue is a darker shade. I didn't want to go with the Talisar blue because that's very bright. Maybe I should have, but that's too bad. Okay. It didn't quite have the effect I had hoped for, unfortunately, but let's try something a little wacky here. Now that I've wiped the brush off, some water on there and see if that helps The answer is no. You can definitely see there's like very up, way up close. You can see some texture to it, but unfortunately, not fully. But still, not too bad. I don't mind it. It's a nice shade of blue. Okay, and with that, I think I'm going to take a brief break. Get myself something to drink. But while I'm doing that, I'm going to attempt to reattach Sabine to her base. So let me quickly get some plastic glue. Well, I should not do that with the goggles down because I just got a massive head rush. Okay, so got some plastic glue. And we're going to hope that I can reattach her and that A, that I can reattach her, and B, that the glue will actually hold this time. Of course, the answer is likely going to be no on that one, but gotta try. And nope, she's still falling over. It's the problem when they put ridges on the bottoms of her boots. It's like great, it works for texture, it works for detail on the miniature itself, but it doesn't work so well when you're trying to then attach her to her base. Okay, I'm just going to let her sit for a little bit there. Make sure you get some nice music, and I'll be back in a few moments. So let's just go double check and make sure it's still playing. Here we go. And we'll be back in a little bit. Okay, I am back. It wasn't very long of a break, so hope that is all right with you guys, and I didn't keep you waiting too long. I think what I'm going to do next is go back once again with the Black Templar, because I keep finding little spots here and there that I want to adjust. And then next, it's going to get a little weird. I'm using the fine detail brush on this now because it's little tiny pieces I'm noticing, like the glove around her blaster, which is really tiny. Alrighty. So next up, just gonna fix a few little pieces here and there. Okay. Oops. And it looks like she still isn't quite settled on that base. I feel like I'm gonna have to go really crazy with the glue on this, and I really don't want to do that because it's gonna look horrible. But whatever, we'll come back to that. So now, most of the images I've seen of Sabine, she's got a purple breastplate, but she's got an insignia on it, which, what am I getting myself into? I'm going to attempt, I'm not going to be able to do the entire thing because I suck, but I'm going to attempt to, with the Iandan yellow, I'm going to try my best to approximate it, and then I'm going to try to paint the purple around it. And by approximate it, I mean just draw kind of a C here. And I'm going to make her other pauldron completely yellow. There we go. Okay. And then next, let's see. I think next I'm going to grab the Volupus Pink, because on her helmet, again from images I've seen just attempting to do a little bit of reference work and research for this, she does have a bit of a... Okay, well the Volupus Pink is kind of the brighter one, so that's probably going to be... Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do for the front as well. And it looks like she also has a couple of stripes on the other side. Okay. Let's try this. Shake the Volupus Pink, or Volupus Pink, or however you pronounce it, up pretty nicely. And let's see how this works. So in the image I've got, it looks like she's got one line that comes like just directly down into the middle there, and then kind of curves off on the sides. I really like the Volupus pink because it gives a really dark, it's a very dark pink. There we go. Then, yep, she came off the base again. I have to figure something out with that, but I'll do that later. Next we're going to go with the pink and get in just under here. For the armor plates on her upper chest. I'm just going to put a little bit down here over the Grey Knight steel on her panels. Oh wow, that is a nice look. I'll just do it on the knees though, just to make that stick out a little bit more. Ooh, that is pretty. And then, let's see. Back to the chest piece. Be very careful. I'm going to try to keep from going over the yellow that I already put down. And I think I'm also going to go with some of the pink on the backpack here, right in that rod in the middle. Okay. Darn it. Yeah, definitely gonna have to figure something out with that later on. Maybe find some putty or green stuff to better affix her to her base. Okay. Next, I'm going to go with a little bit of, just a very tiny bit, because it's a very tiny piece, the Blood Angel's red. I just want to get it just the least little bit on the tip of the brush. And I'm going to get a little bit right in here. Just like that. Perfect. Next up, as the kitty is staring at me. Next we're going to go with the Shaiish purple, which is one of my favorite colors. It's a very dark purple. We're going to put that for the remaining bits on the helmet, as well as the jetpack. Let's get a little more on there. And making the helmet look kind of Magneto-ish. Definitely have to go back in there with the Volupus pink and just kind of give it a little more of a solid coat. This is looking a little ratty. Also going with a tiny bit of the Shaiish purple in between those two plates on the chest, just to give it a little more contrast. Ah, shoot. Okay, well, let's see if I can get that off there where I made the mistake. Hey, that worked. Kind of. It's a start. Okay, there we are. Managed to pull that excess purple off of the pink. Saved. Still doesn't look the best, but it's a start. I am not going to do well in this contest. Anyway, let's continue then with the purple on the backpack. And I think for this I'll switch back over to the base brush. Darn it. I'm just dropping everything now. There we go. Okay. So next, we're going to keep it the shyish purple. And we're going to keep it very light though. I don't want it to be too heavy and too dark. We're going to do the edges of the dark saber. So I think that'll make for a very nice effect. There we go. Alrighty. So this looks thoroughly horrible. Still not a bad start. Just needs a little more love to kind of fix it up a little bit. So that's what I'm going to do. Stitch the base coat brush and work on the details. Phew. Alrighty. So since I've got the shyish purple out already, is there anything else I need to adjust with that? I think a little bit on the mask, so let's go in there very carefully. And just get some of those little spots. Next, let's go back with the Basilicanum Gray. And we've got a little bit back here, just under the helmet where her shirt is, that I need to touch up, so there we go. Spot there under the pauldron. Go back to the Volupus Pink next, or however it's pronounced. I know I've pronounced it like 5 different times already today. And yeah, let's fix that helmet up because that is all over the place. And it's a little bit on the chest pieces too I gotta fix. So, it's funny, I've had a lot of luck with getting some great results with using the contrast paints on the GW miniatures. And I mean, they're just paints, they should work fine anywhere, but yeah, Sabine just does not seem to want to be, doesn't seem to want to play nice with me today. Okay, let's go with some Apothecary White and just go over those two little blank spots that I've got on her chest piece where it's supposed to have white stripes. Now again, because these are the contrast paints, it's not going to come out quite just like a pure white, like if I had just a regular base coat white paint. But let's see if I can get a little extra decent look in there. Let's go back to the Basilicanum Gray again, because I just noticed another spot that needs some help. Kind of go in and darken her shirt a little bit more. And while I'm at it, add some little shadows here and there to some of the other pieces, just to fill in some gaps. Alrighty. We go back to the Shaiish Purple, and then back to the Grey Knight Steel. Here we are. And we're just going to try to get underneath and get the back end of that backpack. Okay. That looks a little bit better. As I said before, we're going to go back once again, just kind of get the little bits on our helmet to touch them up a little. Okay, definitely have to go back in there yet again with the Shyish Purple just to fix the front of the helm. And I got a bullet and a little more on the belt buckle there. A little on the sides of the armband. And a little on the armor plate up here. Twisting and contorting, trying to find every little bit I still gotta fix. Knocking into everything while I'm doing that. Okay. Well, not horrible. Not great, but actually, you know what? I think maybe I can fix that little bit with the white by going over with the steel instead. Let's try that very carefully. That's a little bit better. Okay. I'm still not feeling amazing about this, but definitely feeling a little bit better, so that's good. Definitely not going to be a prize winner, but not something I'm completely ashamed of. I'm just going to use a little of the Rune Fang. I keep saying Rune Fang, wow. It's a little of the black Grey Knight steel on the edges of the Darksaber just to give it a little shine. Just a tiny bit. Maybe a tiny bit more. Nope, too much on the brush. Alrighty. Okay. Improving. Definitely improving. Now let's go back in with the wildwood and try to fix up those pouches and belts. Rob Liefeld would be proud. Okay. Grab the wildwood. Oops. Keep messing around with her antenna. And I think, let's see, do snakebite next, do snakebite, and then I'll do skeleton horde. Oops, I already grabbed the skeleton horde. Okay, we'll do the skeleton horde first, because that's what I grabbed. Dope. Okay, then I'll go back to the snakebite, and then back to the bulbous pink, and I think I'm going to be done. At least for now. I know I said I was going to do the entire thing, but as far as even all my corrections go. But considering how some of the stuff really doesn't become fully noticeable until after it's dried, I'm going to want to give it a little time to settle. So also, even though I did take a bit of a break earlier, I've been at this for 2 hours now. I could use a little bit of a break. More than that, 2 minutes when I went and grabbed a drink earlier. I will say, though, this does have me a bit more worried for when I'm going to go do the Catan Shard of the Void Dragon on Saturday. That maybe it's not going to come out too well. But he is a bigger model, and even though he is very detailed, I think that the way he's set up should work fairly nicely for what I'm aiming for. So I'm not too concerned. Okay, what did I say was next? Oh, that's right, the Volupus pink. I think. Do I need to? Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit. Nothing too crazy. Just a couple little dots here and there. Just to even things out a little. Okay, I'll wrap it up with a little more of the... I keep promising myself I'm going to stop, but I keep going back for more. I'm going to go fix up a little bit more with the Black Templar. I apologize for my breathing very heavily into the microphone. Okay, well, I think she looks all right for now. Definitely not as good as I was hoping she'd turn out, but it was nice and relaxing, except for the parts when I wasn't breathing. Alrighty. I think that's enough painting for now. So I got her mostly done. Well, pretty much done. Now it's just a matter of, fixing little things here and there. And goodness knows there is plenty to fix. Wow, things look a lot different once I take off the magnifier. So, before I leave you, I'm going to try once again to affix Sabine to the base. And yeah, the music definitely stopped, but we're almost done, so we'll just leave it as is. Okay then. I'm going to try putting some glue on the base itself also. And I'm not overly concerned if I got a little too much there, because I'm going to be going over it with the Grelin Badland later, which will cover up any excess. I wonder if I should probably have used super glue instead of plastic glue on her. Well, I mean, she is made of plastic, so the plastic glue should work. Or should have worked, as it may well be. And you know what? First of all, quick drink. Just because I've got you here, and because I don't like leaving things completely unfinished, while she's fairly stable and drying right now, let's put some of the Grelin Badland on. And I know I'm going to regret this, but that's what makes this fun. Makes your sitting through my entire stream all worth it to see me screw things up. Because if there's one thing I'm good at, it's Schadenfreude. Oh man, she fell over. Yep, I knew this was a bad idea, but I went and did it anyway. Because this is what I do for my craft. Are you not entertained? I'll probably just go and actually use super glue later on. Hoping that maybe the paint will also help to keep to kind of form a bond and adhere her there. Wishful, wistful thinking, yeah, but you never know. I mean, the stuff is pretty thick. It's more like applying like clay to it than painting. Alrighty. Well, there we have it. I would hold her up so you can get a better view, but, well, that's clearly not going to work. But you'll be able to see her on display with a bunch of much better painted figures at the store, starting next, not this upcoming Saturday, 2 days from now, but the Saturday after that, the 5th of December. No, I'm sorry, that's when the, goodness, I really should prepare a script or something so I don't mess this stuff up. All the entries are due by the Saturday, the 5th of December, and then they will go on display on Sunday, the 6th of December, for everybody to view and cast their votes. So I'm not saying vote for mine. Odds are there are going to be some that are much better out there, and hopefully you will have forgotten which one mine is. So this way I'm not unduly influencing anybody here on the official channel. So yeah, feel free to pop on in the store, enter the contest yourself, get your own miniature. One of the named ones has to be one of the named characters. Oops, I just realized I popped the wrong overlay up here for quite a while. So yeah, pick up your own named character from Star Wars Legion. $15 for just entry to the event, and then paint it up, bring it on in by next Saturday, the 5th of December, and then we have a week of voting, and the winner will receive the limited edition Luke Skywalker miniature that was extremely limited for stores. On Saturday, I will be back here at our regular stream time, 11 a.m., where I'm going to be, and I'll go back to when it's been on this whole time, I'm going to be painting the Catan Shard of the Void Dragon, this guy up here, that I assembled last week. In fact, let me get him out, because this is such a gorgeous figure. It looks amazing. I've already primed it in Wraithbone White. And yeah, we'll see how the painting comes. As Lewis had suggested, probably not going to do it all in one sitting. Maybe we'll do half of it this week and the other half the next week, because he is a big boy and that's a lot of surface area. So once again, I want to thank everybody who tuned in today. I hope you enjoyed me butchering Sabine Wren here. And yeah, feel free to stop on by the store anytime. We're open Sundays and Mondays from noon until 6. For the holidays, we're open Tuesdays through Saturdays from noon until 8, instead of our usual noon until 6 on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So we're expanding those hours. And yeah, pop on in, say hi to everybody. If you're a miniatures player, talk to Lewis. He'll be able to help you out with any game that you might want to get into. If you're a Magic player, talk to Chris. He's our Magic expert. Also, feel free to say hi to Lily, to Colin, to Paul. They're all on the front end staff. I'm in there on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. I'll be back, full time in January once I'm completely finished recovering from my hospitalization. Darn kidneys. Don't worry, it wasn't COVID. And maybe every once in a while you might end up running into our back end crew. So say hi to Clifford. He is our expert in all things sports card related. JD's always wandering around there. Steven's around. He's usually doing warehouse stuff, but you might see him if you catch a glimpse of him running back and forth here and there. Also want to give a shout out to Manny and Brianna back there. I don't know why I keep forgetting Josh. Josh, who does some backroom stuff as well as working storefront. He's our other Magic expert. So if you can't find Chris, odds are Josh can help you out with whatever you're looking for. I, as always, am the comic book expert. I think I've covered everybody at the store now, so hi to everyone out there. Hi to everyone that's been watching again. Thank you very much. Hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving, a great holiday season, and I will see you around. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.